Hello and welcome back to CrestVahllen D&D. This is the Burnt Ends, where we talk about our last couple episodes. We're talking today about, make sure I get this right,
Should be 23 to 25.
23 to 25, where the battle with the creature and Lob's eye thing and the spectral form and all that stuff. So let's get right down to it. Who's first?
I mean, that was a crazy long little battle that was unexpected, you
Did
know?
not intend for that to be as an insane, like, keep track crunch chase scene where we all had to keep track of how distant we were from the creature. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was definitely unprepared for that.
Yeah, definitely. Because we talked about it a little bit before, you know.
We kind of backed it into corners. Like, it kind of had no choice but to... It wanted out, first of all.
Yeah.
And we didn't do a very good job of stopping it.
Well, because
once
I'm
it
the only
got
one who
out.
could stop it. But once it's, like, near me and I'm confused,
Right.
It was
then...
Yeah, the confusion aura was pretty harsh.
that squashed half of our group immediately. Like, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, confusion
you know?
aura is a big deal, and it's like and the extension of like you having those nightmares, not being able to sleep right, not getting like proper sleep was it's just that leaking out of it, and from its so you got a taste.
It was like waking up, essentially. So the
So
nightmares
it still
were
wasn't
like,
even at full power.
Right.
Like it was just waking up.
I just
getting
mean like
used to.
the original nightmares we had were sort of like that ability slowly coming back awake for it.
Leaking.
And now it's full, that portion of it is at least awake enough to affect us fully.
Well, so I know I had asked before if I still had retained the 10 intelligence, but I didn't really ask anything about, like, all the other stuff. If that stuff...
All that stuff is still there. All that stuff is still there. It was like there's a bunch of stuff you don't know that because if I tell you I'm going to spoil a bunch of things, but I know I want to tell you because I want to satisfy your questions, but I don't want to tell you too much because I don't want to spoil a bunch of things. But I hope you'll be suffice to know that yes, all of the things remain the same. There was some type of tether compared to the book in which it was contained in, and you, at that point, to even when it was just defeated, it was like summoned, like no, like sucked back into the book, you know, that kind of thing.
So we might have to do this all again.
Yeah, this will happen again.
Cool.
Well, maybe. I mean, if your brain isn't sucked out, maybe it won't happen.
Right. I mean, hopefully that
easily.
doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
That was kind of the thing that
Brain dogs.
sent it all down.
Maybe one of your moon phases is that thing coming out of the moon.
Right.
Right. Like that whole legend with the wolf eating the moon, right? Like...
I really want his flame eye to come back.
I know.
I was disappointed that
That was the biggest
disappeared.
casualty of
You
this.
can attempt to bring it back if you like. I mean, now that you know that it's somewhat capable of it.
I mean, it was
Check me
continual
with,
flame.
Yeah,
So
if
I
you wanna
figured
do
like it,
I mean, if you
it
want
lasts
to inject
until
them again,
dispelled.
see what happens.
I mean, it lasts until dispelled.
It does.
So
So I mean, this is like you were just. You can certainly try. I'm going to leave it at that. Like you can certainly try to bring it back if you like. We'll see what happens. The eyes are the windows to the soul. We'll see what happens. The fact that it knocked so many of you out of commission so quickly was. I was like, oh shit, make this thing a little too powerful. But then I realized, like, okay, no, there's a reason why this thing is.
I mean, in a 1-on-6 battle, it's fine.
Yeah, and a 1-on-6, I was like, okay, like once it got like cornered and it was out and it was being hit like 6 ways till Sunday, I was like, okay, this thing needs to get out of here.
Yeah. Exactly.
And even though it's like chunky with hit points, the fact that it moved so fucking fast was a big problem for you. And it didn't even do dash actions its entire combat.
No, it didn't.
And it was still moving incredibly fast.
Right.
I was very happy. I've been holding on to these art pieces for what this creature looks like for over a year, or if not longer. And I was very happy to finally be able to share them. with
Yeah,
you on
this
the
was the thing that you're like, wasn't it? Just thinking, because before the session started, TJ was like, I hope that we get to this thing today that I've been planning for, months at this point.
They're not my art, so I will. I'll try to find out exactly who made them and give them credit when I. Before I post them on the CrestVahllen Hub. So stay tuned for that. That might take me a little bit because I want to make sure that credit is given where credit is due. But yeah, and then those are the whole flame thing. I cannot
It was a long shot. I was just trying to.
No, it's not that. It's that you kept putting things into Log's eye hole. That was just
that derailed pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. You guys
Yeah.
descended into teenage boydom real fast.
I think we were scared though, right?
Yeah,
Like I think it was
you needed the levity.
We
Yeah.
needed the levity.
I mean, once you start sticking digits and
Once it
holes
started,
Yeah.
though, like we couldn't stop it.
No.
any little thing you say can just be like, yeah, that can
Yeah,
take a
that
minute.
fits too. Yep.
Yeah.
Are
Yep.
there any questions you guys have, like the mechanics of the battle, or is or any of its like abilities or anything like that?
Not
Well, it sounds like
really.
it has a shit ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has,
Sounds like
so
we
it's
haven't
a lot
even.
of the things it can do. Comes from
I mean, and it
Prince
has.
of Madness.
Yeah. I mean, it has like spells that it can cast, but just like everything else, they're psionic based instead of.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not
Arcane
of this.
based.
It's not of this world.
Right. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it doesn't do magic the way you guys do magic.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, I know it sucks. I'm gonna get a bunch of people being like, "That's not cool. It's not fair to you." I'm like, guys, come on.
It's fine.
Like, you guys killed it. What do you want? Well,
Yeah.
re-imprisoned it.
Yep.
I guess.
I'm glad that Sofka got to, redeem herself with a couple tidal waves.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice touch to give it like the rat tidal wave. I thought it made a lot of sense.
I think Theo will be okay with how we played her
Yeah.
today.
There was like that first part of the combat when I completely forgot about something.
Yeah.
It's like shit.
Yeah.
Great. So then you guys went out to.
I have to ask her about her journey to the other plane and stuff
Right,
too,
yeah.
because I did see her poof and disappear.
Yeah, you
and,
sent her somewhere
Yeah.
where you had been before.
And she asked about blue things.
but
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. It
It
was
was just
Right,
And,
and
like,
she
I
only
maybe
ever-
would have connected the dots, but look,
She wasn't with us when we were.
She's only ever heard secondhand discussions of some things,
Yeah.
very sparse.
yeah.
So that was
which is like, yeah, why would she be asking me about those? And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, Log's not going to put two and two together that way.
We haven't seen those things since she joined us.
and then when that happened, the entity
Learned.
Noted.
turned and
Yeah.
like recognized.
It felt it.
It felt it, and it was like, oh, so there's something going on there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's from a different plane, like it would understand. Oh, there's a doorway to somewhere else.
Right.
Possibly.
Right.
Maybe they can help me get back where I'm from.
Maybe it's a side door instead of
Yeah.
a back door.
The back door.
Well,
You went there.
Right, see, it's not always us.
yeah.
I know. If I was in your shoes, I'd probably end up doing the same exact thing.
You
On the
absolutely.
other
I just
side.
mean, it might think,
Sure.
oh, they know how to, breach into other places.
Mm.
Maybe I can use them to get where I need to go.
Right.
So I think that's
Did try to
something.
dominate one of you.
I think that's something we're gonna have to watch
had
out
a piece of it.
Yeah.
When it succeeded, but then failed the con save once
Right.
it got hit.
So like there was never a turn where Cole actually had to do something
Yeah.
under control or under its control.
it could have been bad.
Yeah, it could have been very bad. Yeah, it was. So it realized that being harried on all sides, it got caught in a spot it didn't want to be.
Right.
It really wanted to escape, which was like super great for it, but then it got caught in a spot and it was like, well, fuck this, and it was that. And these things are not stupid.
No. I mean, when it first came out, it was just me. And then, like, the next turn, Cole broke free and Log got his minion on it. And so it went from, like, really one person up against it to surrounded on all sides. And so all of a sudden, it's like, oh, shit. This wasn't as easy as I thought. It
Right.
should have run away. So that makes complete sense. I'm just a tiny little gnome with tiny little legs. I can't
And-
run that fast.
And so like when it looked at you and looked into your mind and just gave you a glimpse of possibly
The realm of chaos.
where it comes from, you
The plane of chaos.
it's weird, like, because the way I imagine it, at least, is that you got a glimpse of something much larger than yourself or anything that you could ever imagine, and it makes other things so insignificant in perspective that you're just like, none of this matters. This is so funny. None of this fucking matters.
Right.
It's very like a nihilistic kind of perspective now. Now that you've been granted this glimpse.
I'll just end everything. Who cares?
Right.
Right. Multiverses will keep on spinning.
And then we had the Argus with the flame hammer and like figuring out like, oh cool, I can interact with you. That whole thing. Then we move on to, I guess we did travel.
We did travel, but it was
Just a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this day nothing happens.
No.
Because
No.
that thing did escape. Midheim was right there for whatever
right. So it was a good,
stuff it was going to do.
yeah. So it was good that
Could have been
Devastating.
huge. Could have been like it could have changed the landscape of a lot of things.
Mhm.
So yes, you did. You were able to dodge a bullet in that respect. So we get to get Minheim. It's a beautiful city of commerce.
So
Still
Pinjack
shit.
did come to Minheim to join the Temple of God.
He did.
So if we ever get back
I'm
there,
trying to find your brother.
there's a decent chance my brother's also here in town.
Oh, cool. Okay.
If he's still here. That was a couple years ago.
Okay.
So the temple could have sent him on.
Pilgrimage or a mission somewhere.
But they might at least know
Or he
him.
might not have even ever made it here. I don't know.
Right.
All I know is that he did leave home to come to Minheim to join the temple.
Oh, we'll have to check that out. And still,
If,
assuming that we
if
get
anybody
past-
can cure my brain worms,
Hey, brother.
It could be like, hey, bro, I can't feel empathy. Fix
hey
me.
brother, I almost sacrificed our family. There's something wrong.
Having Log be invisible the whole time and then having
Him talk.
art
Yeah.
on him was
It
wild.
was really
Um,
funny.
I mean, his head was right there.
And there was nothing you could do.
Nope.
I mean, it's a sack of potatoes.
Yep.
So I do want to get to the meat of the matter. Is that I want to hear, because I love hearing your theories and everything. I do want to hear what it is you think about what is going on with this individual. The
So-
host, as it were.
If he has been around as long as we think he's been around, and he's a wizard, there are spells to where you can clone yourself, simulacrums of yourself, whatever it is. And he can just have them all over the world doing all kinds of things all at the same time.
Right.
So I don't see that as challenging for him if he's been around as long as he has.
What explains the whole like always one step ahead thing, because
Right.
there's
Right.
that many of them, then it's
And he-
always going to seem that way, because wherever you go, there's going to be one.
He did sort
Right.
of confirm to us that he sort of leading us along.
Yeah, you seem to be
Yeah.
laboring under the assumption that I can be in one place. I can only be at one place at a time.
Well, no,
Right.
he said, I set your feet
Yeah,
on this
that's-
path.
why do
Yeah.
you think I set you on this path?
Right.
Which is interesting.
So-
like what? Like
That
how
was
far
actually
back?
a theory that you had.
Yeah.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's puppeting us to do something.
Right.
And we were worried about that. We thought about that. And obviously, Pernua was relaying all of our stuff to him. So,
Yeah.
That's tough because Pernua is still like in control of herself. Like you did a bunch of insight checks that were really, really high. Like she is still a person.
but she's also a window
And
Yeah.
she
can
said,
listen through.
and she gave consent,
Right.
which is a very consent is a
Strong
very,
thing.
very powerful magic. Very, very powerful. And so I believe there was one time where you thought like he was grooming you.
Yeah. Which.
Could very well possibly be the case.
Yes. He definitely now has said that he put us on this path, and he's got to have some plan of why he did that.
Yeah, like why do you think he has put you in these positions, or at least the ones that you feel like might have been tied to him? And like, what purpose? What purpose do you think he's? What is his end?
Well, there's what
Why do
we
you think
know
he's
in the
bothering
book.
if he can do what he can do?
Right.
Well, it's like what we know in the book about, like, bringing back the person he cared about and all that.
Right.
But so, like, right, how much of that is real? If you think any of it is.
I mean, I think probably real, but maybe that book is actually pretty old, and he's already like
There's moved on to other
Yeah.
bigger things.
right, or like his other selves did, right? So it's, I don't know.
He still seems to care, though. about
He
Tolkien.
does.
Right.
Yeah, you did see that in his
So
eye.
there's
like,
still
he
something
was
about that
worried for
that
a
he
moment.
cares about.
Right.
That like kind of he stole himself with confidence, being like, "No, I have the better hand here."
Right.
So to me, that means there's like possibly two things he's going after. Either he's still working on that, and he has some way to use us to find a piece of that puzzle. But he's got to have, I don't know, somebody more alive to do it, or somebody that's not him. For some reason, he can't do it himself, so he has to use somebody else.
Right. Or maybe he's just getting a bunch of different groups that are similarly.
Right. And hopefully one of us
Yeah.
does it for him,
Right.
and he can then just take it from us.
Right.
The other thing is elves. So at one point, the elves were waging war and taking things over. And if he really is somewhat outcast from his family, maybe he thinks if he reignites that, if he takes over territories for the elves, they'll let him back in. Then maybe he can get to secrets that they have that he doesn't have access to now.
That plus, maybe he's a necromancer.
Yeah.
What if he brings back the elves, like the whole elven population, right? If he's working so much.
Yeah, but they're
all
all going
this
to be
stuff.
undead. They're not going to be elves.
But
True resurrection
No, I'm
for
saying,
armies of
for
people.
what? For-
remember what he was studying? How to bring people back?
Yeah.
Still have their soul
the
within
soul,
them.
yeah, the whole thing.
And with like lesser uses of magic, as he's trying to warp
Sure.
and change.
Yeah.
So would they?
No. If he's successful, they would.
He-
He would be able to
He
cheaply.
did have a great, like he had a milestone achievement with Purdue.
Yeah,
He would be able to
Using-
cheaply bring armies back to life,
right.
waves upon waves. Every time they die, just bring them right back.
Right.
I still don't. No matter
But
how.
why?
Yeah, we don't know why the elves were waging war in the first place, other than just
Conquest.
conquest.
Mhm.
What other motives?
And why
did they
would he
have?
want to?
I mean,
And then there's like other things involved too. We've got hags are involved. It's stuff. We've got these eldritch idols that are involved. There's a bunch of things that are going
Yeah.
on in the world.
But those could be unrelated, or
Yeah, I mean, there's
just different factions
So-
and stuff,
go ahead.
right? So,
from what I've gleaned from the hags, I see them more as like demigods almost. Like they're not gods themselves, but they each represent an aspect, like a god does. So they are
your
more
portfolio.
a balancing force rather than anything like specifically driven.
they're very neutral.
Yes,
Rather than like a malevolent force.
correct. They're probably
Or
not
whatever.
even like
And they
Planners
could have
to
been
a certain
around
point.
for
oh yeah. They're probably older
Yeah.
than this elvish thing, whatever's going on. Like they've been around longer than that. So for them, it's more, this is my domain. This is what I need to do, and I'm just gonna do it. And fuck the rest of the world if it tries to stop me.
Right. And
I'll be cruel if I have to be cruel. I'll be kind or lonely or whatever till the end of time, or until
the
somebody
idea
puts
that
me out of my
they
memory.
each embody some sort of aspect,
Yeah.
of the emotion or something.
Friendly.
Yeah, but they're all
So like
they're kind of ancillary aspects too. They're not like, it's not sadness,
yeah,
happiness. It's lonely, friendly, cruelty.
they're sort of lesser aspects of gods. Like they don't occupy that whole domain. They've got like just this tiny little specific piece
It also kind of keeps them off
of
the radar a
something.
little bit too.
Yeah.
right.
But they're still highly powerful.
Oh yeah.
The fact that you beat one was wild. Granted, it was not in the body it wanted to be in.
Right.
Right.
It was already messed up.
Right.
So, and did we fully defeat it? Because the house got it out of there. So
The body,
But the brain was gone. So
the brain was eaten.
yeah, but who says that it's not powerful enough, or its hut isn't powerful enough to heal it after it got away from us, or whatever magic powers it?
There were more brains in jars that the house could have used to.
I mean, Granny Lonely got pretty weak there when she was doing her divination that she owed us.
Yeah.
So it is possible we killed him, but
Granted, she's tapping into some extreme
right.
forces. Like predicting the future is
So I mean, I guess it's probably possible that we did actually kill him.
witnessing the fabric of time and space itself.
Right.
Like,
But then what happens? If it really is some like
well, the universe takes its toll.
no, I mean if we
Give,
did
gonna
kill
take.
him.
Yep.
If we did kill him, what happens?
Right. Well, how does that affect
Where does that
the coven, as it were?
that minor domain of cruelty, what happens to it? It's got to go somewhere.
Like, is balance now off?
Right.
Does cruelty now increase in order to make up for the balance,
The hags need a new
or does it decrease and something
member.
else happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloody. And then
and
there's
I'm kicking myself because I didn't ask my hag's name. Bastard.
right back at the other.
I met one. I met one on my session 0, but I didn't ask her name.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know which one she is.
And just to like also get back on track too, we've got the host.
Yep.
Right. We've got the host who has some sort of
Master plan.
master plan, goal in mind. So much so that he possibly could have been putting you on a path in order to deal with that.
Yep.
Or help him with
Yep.
that in some way, whether by force or need to. With the high insight checks that were rolled too, you guys understood that they don't want to they genuinely do not want to put your family in danger. They absolutely will if it means that they're gonna get to do what they need to do.
I mean,
They
they
killed the whole city, so I mean.
Yeah.
and just thinking back to the way that he created Pernua too, like all these events that he's done to us and the world to get us to be vengeful towards him is very similar to the pattern that he used with Pernua.
He's like that guy who is willing to do the bad thing for the right reasons.
Right. So why is he doing? Why are we the subject of that?
But
who's-
what are the right reasons?
Whose versions of right reasons are we talking
Exactly.
about?
Right.
And like so this is hopefully something that we're going to be covering next session.
Yeah.
As you guys
I
sit down
figured.
and talk, there's going to be
Lore
probably
dump.
a lot of lore talk here. I mean, I think
That's all right. We
I
had
would-
2 long combat
yes,
episodes. in
I
a
would
row,
definitely
so-
prepare questions if you have certain questions. It would be now's the time to do it because you have a civil moment with this individual. Well, civil
Right.
being a relative term. Speaking of which, I was going to say, because Argus's sister is a loaded cannon as well.
And mom.
Mom.
And
I
mom,
can't.
mom is furious. And so is the sister.
I mean,
Dad's just like, what the fuck is happening? And they're rolling really well on like their self-control. So they are doing their best because mom sees one. Other families are in danger. She's a mom. She's not going to do it. She's not going to put other families in danger, no matter what. Sister sees, shit, my dad and my mom are in danger.
Right.
And I don't know these people, but they're both extremely frustrated. But they're like, as soon as stuff pops off, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So there's a couple other things. There's just like one more thing I wanted to mention to you guys. And just to kind of give you just a little Easter egg since we're doing burnt ends. There are some clues that I have spec'd throughout the campaign as to far as, for example, you know that the host is Emrys Ehrenbach, also part of House Ehrenbach from Sarnlug, the Lithuan Confederacy.
He was adopted.
He's
right?
adopted, part of Sarnlug.
He's supposedly disowned. But we know that he still has relationship with his mother.
Supposedly
adopted
disowned. In what way?
You told us at one point that the family had disowned him.
Well, that was Tortese's family. That was the Tortese about how the individual that you found was disowned
No.
from
Somebody specifically told us that Emerus had been disowned.
Oh, it was more of there are sometimes things
You're
on
falling
the
out of
rocks.
favor
Yeah,
or something like
the
that.
family and him are sometimes on the rocks.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Whereas
Mom's
like
still-
disowned is a little harsh.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just
He's
you
not
know,
in favor with the family, but
Yeah, but
Mom
he's
is still helping.
part of the family. Because here's the deal: how the houses of the Lithuanian Confederacy and Sarn work is that regardless of whether you get along with your family, you're what we have. And
Yeah.
you need to be part of the family or we lose power. So I don't care what the fuck your deal is, get your shit together and let's go.
Right.
Because that's all they have. If they lose that, they lose their power. So very possibly not super copacetic, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Right.
I want to tell you more so bad.
I mean, but we do know that his mom was basically one of the founders of the College of the Unearthed,
So
which
they
is part of
can
the
order
art.
and money.
To raise the armies and
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
Or they're finding the bones.
and
They're finding the soldiers that they're eventually going to raise
right. Well, yeah, that's one.
to fight
Yeah.
and
the battles.
the question is if they're elves too. I mean, the Enlightenment era has only been around for a few hundred years.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
right. So they probably also started that with the original,
Possibly.
or seeded the idea
Possibly.
for the college to begin in the first
Elves are
place.
masters of being benefactors, especially those that live, in an oligarchic type situation.
Playing the long game too.
Yeah.
Because they can.
Yep. They can start something that lasts generations of
A long
other-
game is hard to see too in perspective,
Other
especially when
games.
races
Yeah.
die every hundred years.
Yep.
I mean, it's the knowledge often gets lost from generation to generation. So long games are easy to have.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
When like humans go through 3 generations and they're, 10 years to an elf is essentially 300 years to humans. So
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's all the time we have then today. Thank you for watching The Burnt Ends. Check out some of our other videos and make sure to catch us next time. And
Bye.
stay safe out there, everybody. Bye.